Stuff, and I have to say, I'm still kind of reeling from the revelation that Michael Cohen stole money from the Trump organization, and that wasn't, at least to my knowledge, that the prosecution didn't get that out earlier, because it's not as though the prosecution is going to be helped by further evidence that Michael Cohen is a shady character.
Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, the fix-all, the guy who would do anything for Donald, he took the stand in Trump's trial. They're calling it a hush money trial. That's not what it actually is. It's about falsifying business records. And Michael Cohen is the witness that this entire thing hinges on. And as soon as he took the stand, he began to bleed out credibility, even admitting that he had stolen about $60,000 from Donald Trump, not just generically stolen it from him, but stolen it from him specifically regarding the exact situation this case is about. All of his credibility was gone. And it's not just me who thinks that. And it's not just like maybe the Fox News of the world, who's obviously kind of on Donald Trump's side. Everyone thought this. Here's a few clips from CNN responding to this. CNN, who is no friend of Donald Trump.
Stuff, and I have to say, I'm still kind of reeling from the revelation that Michael Cohen stole money from the Trump organization, and that wasn't, at least to my knowledge, that the prosecution didn't get that out earlier, because it's not as though the prosecution is going to be helped by further evidence that Michael Cohen is a shady character. I'll get to the newest stuff in a second, but what's your reaction?
So here's CNN just going, how do we even respond to this? Like, we thought we had him, dead to rights. Like, we had Michael Cohen, not the most credible guy anyway. He's lied to Congress and had to go to prison. And, he did allegedly do a bunch of shady stuff for Trump and, not exactly Mother Teresa, but he's got the inside information. He's written tell-all books about Donald Trump. Like, he knows all of it. He's going to get on the stand and tear him to pieces. He gets on the stand and they'd say, so you stole that money from Donald Trump. And Michael Cohen's testimony was, yes, I did. Like, wow. Okay. So then you have no credibility in this case. CNN continued to share their thoughts about this.
But I want to refocus everyone for a second on what the government has to prove and why this is such a bombshell, as we've been talking about. Going to the tablet on this, because the checklist, they have to actually prove everyone.
Bring out the tablet.
Bring out the tablet. They have to prove there was an intent to defraud. Here is the biggest part of this. If you are the defendant in this case, this is what they have to prove. You made and caused a false entry in the business records. If Michael Cohen was the one to falsify the number of documents there that he was not aware of what he was actually spending or what he was actually paying, well, then you've got an issue. Remember, this is all coming down to 11 checks to Cohen, 11 invoices submitted by Cohen, and then 12 entries in Trump's ledger. Now, one thing that they can do on the actual rehabilitation and certainly in jury instructions is that you have the ability to give an instruction in New York law that talks about intentionally aiding.
So if you look at that, she says the entire case comes down to these documents, 11 checks to Michael Cohen, the guy who was stealing money from the person writing him checks, 11 invoices submitted by Cohen, the guy who on the stand admitted to business fraud by telling his employer that something cost more than it did and pocketing the rest and then getting reimbursement on top of what he had pocketed. So 2/3 of the checklist that this case comes down to all hinges on the guy who just got up and said, I hate the guy. I've made $4 million writing books, exposing everything about the guy, who has just very clearly said, we've got to get him. He's not unbiased in any form or fashion. And he's a crook. As a matter of fact, what he admitted to on the stand is a more serious allegation than what Trump is currently on trial for. And CNN is responding this way because they understand what this means. And what it means is the case has fallen apart. Now, it is a jury case. And so the jury could still find Trump guilty. It'd be a difficult road to get there. And most legal experts think it would be thrown out on appeal. Now, this is probably the only case that will be heard prior to the 2024 election. And at one point, we thought Trump would be in 4 different cases, and surely one of them would get him. And people who think that, Trump is evil and a huge threat to democracy, they were kind of counting on this. And it looks like it's going to be all for naught. And there's a lesson here, a deep lesson from what the prosecution did. They pinned their hope for this trial and for the discrediting of Donald Trump as a business person on two people, Stormy Daniels, who is an adult film star, who also hates Donald Trump and has made tons of money off of him, and Michael Cohen, who is a serial liar, a perjurer, a con man, and someone who in the subsequent years has made millions of dollars exposing things about Donald Trump. The lesson is summed up by Proverbs 13:20. The one who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. And the prosecution, unfortunately, and really, I mean, it's not even necessarily their fault. This is just the options they had, is they had to make themselves a companion of fools. And actually, not just a companion, they had to make themselves reliant on fools. Psalm 1:1 says, how happy is the one who does not walk in the advice of the wicked, or stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers, who doesn't walk in the advice of the wicked, walk in the advice of shady lawyers and adult film stars, doesn't stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers. And we should learn this as well, that there will be situations in our life where we have to choose our loyalty and we have to choose our allegiance. And we need to know the credibility and the character of the people that we invest in relationship with, whether that is our deep friendships, whether that's our romantic relationships, whether that is our business partnerships, whether that's who we invest our money in or with. We have to know their credibility and we have to know their character. If not, we could make ourselves completely in allegiance to someone who ultimately will cause us to suffer harm. Everything fell apart as soon as Cohen got on the stand because he doesn't have character and he doesn't have credibility. And it reminds me of an old fable. It's the fable of the scorpion and the frog. The scorpion and the frog were on one side of a river, and the scorpion needed to get to the other side. So he went to the frog and said, hey, look, I can't swim. You know, I'm a scorpion, don't swim well. And so let me just hop on your back and you can kind of give me a froggy back ride across the river to the other side. And the frog was like, yeah, pass, you know, you're a scorpion. And the scorpion was like, no, listen, we have a mutual interest here. We both want to get to the other side. You know how to get to the other side. I want to be on the other side. And so, you know, we have this mutually shared interest. And so it'd be crazy for me to harm you in any way. I need you. Like, I need you to do this favor for me. And so I'll just hop on. You have my word. And then we'll both make it to the other side. We'll like shake hands and go our separate ways. And eventually his persistence wore the frog down, and the frog thought, it does make sense. You know, I mean, were he to sting me, I would drown and he would also drown because he can't swim. And so it'd be crazy for him to do that. And so he just said, fine, you know what? Hop on. I'll bring you across. Maybe you'll owe me one. And so the scorpion got on the frog's back. Halfway across the river, the scorpion stung him. The poison coursing through the frog's body. He said, why would you do this? And the scorpion said, because I'm a scorpion. That's the fable. And they both drowned and they both died. Michael Cohen, scorpion. And the prosecution is like, hey man, you have serious credibility issues. I don't know that we can bring this case. And he's like, guys, why would I screw this up? I hate Donald Trump. Y'all hate Donald Trump? I hate Donald Trump. And they're like, I know, man, but you're a scorpion. And he's like, no. I know I'm a scorpion, but we both want to get to the other side of this trial. We both want to see Trump in jail. We both will profit from this. It would be crazy for me to do anything stupid, right? So just trust me. Let me hop on your back. We'll cross the river to the other side of the trial. It'll be great. And as soon as he got on the stand, he stung the prosecution right in the face.
Wow.
And you know why? Because he's a scorpion. You know why? Because he's untrustworthy. He doesn't have the credibility and he doesn't have the character. And the hard part is, often when people lack credibility and they lack character, it's very easy for them to be a con man, because to be a con man, you have to lack character. And by definition, you have no credibility. And con men and con women are very adept at convincing you that you have a mutual interest and you can trust them, which is why you have to use wisdom. You have to be discerning. You have to know that scorpions sting. Cows moo, dogs bark, scorpions sting. And when you know who someone is, you should believe them. And when you see their proven past performance, you should believe them. And we shouldn't be so easily fooled as to align ourselves with someone who does not have credibility and does not have character. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you are subscribed so you can stay up to date with all new content. And if you want early access, exclusive content, and monthly live Q&As, make sure to check out patreon.com/ClaytonTine.